What's going on, guys? OneEyedBandit back again with yet another video talking about more Dragon Ball FighterZ, and today I was actually suggested to do a video on cross-ups and how to, I guess, do them and the reason why people drop them, because a lot of people feel like they drop them in the most crucial moments, like in tournament play. They see people drop combos or drop cross-ups, and there is a specific reason for it. I think most of it comes from just simply being in the heat of the battle, and once your heart gets going and once your head gets going, so many different things can happen. That is why a lot of drops happen, because you're just so in the moment, you swear you're gonna get it down, and you just typically kind of just mess up. And so it all comes down to just basic human nature, and again, not everybody can be a prodigy like a Sonic Fox, because I mean, even he drops things sometimes. So when we look at it that way, then you just kind of have to not be so hard on yourself when it all comes down to it. But let's really just kind of break down what a cross-up is. So if you're in a combo or whatever, it doesn't really matter. If you're in a combo or you're basically just trying to stagger your opponent out, right? There is something you can do where you end up on the other side of your opponent. A cross-up is basically getting on the other side of your opponent in attempts to open them up and basically hit them with them not blocking it, right? This is supposed to basically stir your enemy, and if they don't have the wherewithal to basically switch their thumb from one button to another on the other side and block it, then obviously they are going to get hit. And doing a cross-up can involve many different things, like with assist, and we'll get to basically what assist can help you do cross-ups later. But as of right now, a cross-up is just any can be any button, can be jumping over your opponent just to block and get a stagger going or whatever. But yeah, so cross-ups definitely help you open up your opponent when it all comes down to it. And because a lot of people know that all they have to do is really block low, wait for an overhead, get a reflect off, or even just stay blocking until your opponent does a different move. And that's where the cross-up really comes from, because like I said, most people know that if you just block low, wait for the lows, and then react to overheads, then you're good. Or just wait for the Dragon Rush, because that's all that your opponent can really do to you, right? And then again, that's where the cross-up comes from. Is let's say you're just tired of staggering your opponent, waiting for them to open themselves up to you, and you decide you want to jump over and throw them off guard, and you cross up. That's just the easy way to do it. So what factors into cross-ups, right? So how can you drop cross-ups less? There are many different ways that you can stop dropping cross-ups and start allowing yourself to get them more often. And the first is obviously just hop into training mode and attempt to do them. So you can cross your opponent up with a slow jump, but most likely most people are going to be throwing out the instant air dash, which is definitely what causes most people to get this cross-up perfectly. Basically, all you do is jump over your opponent, instant air dash, and throw out a medium or a heavy or a light button. Mostly for most characters it is mediums, and that is why one of the reasons that Super Saiyan Goku, or any Goku for that matter, is so good at these, because most people will do Super Saiyan Goku's cross-up because it's so easy to do. He has a very long medium normal, and it will catch their opponent overhead, and that's all they need to do, right? But if you're using a character like GT Goku, there's so much that factors in, which is spacing, and because of how short his limbs are, you have to be very close to your opponent, and it's kind of hard to do it sometimes. So like it also factors into how like small your opponent is. So that is one of the reasons doing a cross up with GT Goku is a little bit harder, and also one of the reasons why I feel like although he has such a great Oki, it's on his level 3, it's not the best sometimes, because if you can't hit that cross up or have the danger of throwing that cross up out and your opponent knows that, then they're going to be able to hurt you every single time, because you're not necessarily a threat during that Oki for them. So again, GT Goku, very short character, so it's harder for him. Even Krillin, he's very short, but again, more spacing, how long your opponents or your limbs are definitely helps as well. A lot of characters like Bardock, let's say, Bardock can actually cross up with his light button and go into a Ki Blast and, you know, combo from there. His medium is actually, since it's 2 hits, sometimes it's a little harder to cross up with it. But once you get the hang of instant air dashing, I would definitely practice just instant air dashing over your opponent over and over and over on different size characters. So definitely get a GT Goku in there, get a Krillin in there, who's probably the 2nd tier lowest character, Broly, Gogeta, any character that can be fuzzyable as your last character, and just jump over them over and over, right? Because that's gonna help you obviously get your instant air dashes better if you don't know how to do those, and get you that spacing that you might need. And definitely block, give your opponent some staggers within the training room, get them blocking a little bit, and, you know, stagger, crossover, stagger, crossover. Just get in the hang of doing that and using and seeing which buttons on your character are allowed to cross over and hit your opponent, because that'll definitely help a lot of you if you don't really understand the concept of doing it. Also, a reason like why a lot of people might drop these, or you yourself might drop these, is because you're throwing out your medium or your button way too early, right? So if you throw it out too early, it's going to whiff, because your character model basically doesn't understand that he is on the other side yet. So you're basically hitting the same way as if you were, you know, still facing that way, if that makes sense. So that's why it's tougher for a lot of people, because they're, like I said, in the heat of that moment and you're stuck in your own head, your heart is going, you decide you hit that button early, and it's just gonna mess you up a little bit. Also, once you do get to that other side, it might help if you hit the direction of where your opponent is. So once I hop on this side, I might do my, you know, right and medium, because that's where I want my leg to go. A lot of times if the timing is correct, you're gonna hit it every time, but if not, a lot of times, you know, just throw out your medium on the correct side and it's gonna help you hit your opponent each time. So yeah, just again, sit there and practice things like this. Like Goku, it's hard for him to do a light cross up. So but again, this happens to be because of spacing, and if you don't have that spacing, then it's gonna mess you up a lot of times. There are characters like Gogeta who actually, when he does get a cross up, it's hard for him to confirm off of anything else, right? So because he has this 3-hitting medium in the air, yes, he might get a hit on the other side, but most of his buttons are way too slow to go in for a confirm, and it also puts him kind of far away. So a lot of times if you get this confirmed, you got to go straight into his light Rekkas, which doesn't give you much damage at all and barely gives you an Oki, but it is a confirm nonetheless. A lot of times, I guess you can throw out his light. He also is one of those characters that has the ability to throw out a light because the downward arc that it has. So if you do a cross up with Gogeta, then it's most likely going to be this light version here. I think you should throw out because it is more likely to hit. Again though, once he gets this off, it's kind of hard for him to confirm because of how far it places him. Even when you mash afterwards, it just doesn't end well for the character all in all. Like I don't know how many people use Gogeta and get confirms off of his cross up, but if you're starting to realize you don't really get too many confirms off of crossing up with this character, then that basically is just the problem with the character. There's not much you can do about it. Most characters are built for it, and most characters are not. So that's basically all I can say on that front. But other than that, I think most characters have that ability to cross up if you just delay your cross up just a little bit. It's only a small delay, and just remember your spacing, because you don't want to land accidentally in front of your opponent, and you don't want to land too far from your opponent, because you just won't get that confirmed. But anyways, guys, I don't know what else I could do for you other than tell you to go and practice these and practice getting your confirms. If you're like me, you can throw on block, make your opponent block, and turn on block after first hit or whatever, and it'll allow you to get that spacing to get that confirmed. Or again, if you want to just keep practicing jumping over your opponent over and over, then that is good too. Again, practice on all sizes of characters, because if you don't, then you'll decide you want to cross up on a Krillin, but accidentally cross up because you're thinking you're crossing up a Broly style character. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please remember that God and anime are always on your side. Please come join the Bandit Army. That's all I got for y'all. Peace out.